Hi, my name is Leon. Today we'll be covering a physical skill of my interest, how to ping a soccer ball.
The long pass will be broken down into 4 phases: run-up, backswing, contact, and follow-through. The first phase is the run-up. Leon approaches the ball diagonally at an approximate 45-degree angle at the side opposite to his kicking leg. The next phase is the backswing. Firstly, Leon's left arm goes through left shoulder flexion and left elbow extension, posting the arm out for balance. There is dorsiflexion in his left foot as he is planted firmly to the left of the soccer ball. There is a slight shoulder and elbow extension on Leon's right arm as his body leans to the left of the ball. Lastly, there is a right hip extension, right knee flexion, and right plantar flexion as Leon reaches maximum extension of his kicking leg before kicking the ball. Next phase is the contact. Leon brings his kicking leg forward to hit the ball with right hip flexion, right knee extension, and continued plantar flexion to strike the lower half of the ball. Finally, the follow-through. Leon brings his leg further forward through continuous right hip flexion and right knee extension while simultaneously moving his right leg towards his left, where his foot will dorsiflex as it lands back onto the ground, completing the kick.
Lincoln, who has no previous experience, will now try and replicate a long pass. His long pass will also be broken down into 4 phases: the run-up, the backswing, the contact, and the follow-through. The first phase is the run-up. Lincoln approaches the ball incorrectly as he is too in line with the ball. This is a bad habit and common mistake as your body will have a tendency to become too stiff. The second phase is the backswing. Lincoln's arm goes through left shoulder flexion and left elbow extension, posting the arm out for balance. There is also dorsiflexion in his left foot as it plants firmly beside the ball. There is a slight shoulder and elbow extension on Lincoln's right arm as his body leans to the left of the ball. There is a right hip extension, right knee flexion, and right plantar flexion as Lincoln brings his right leg up. Lincoln brings his leg forward with right hip flexion and right knee extension. However, there is a lack of plantar flexion as his foot relaxes upon contact. Lincoln brings his leg further forward through continuous hip flexion and right knee extension. However, as mentioned before, there is a lack of plantar flexion. Lincoln moves his right leg towards his left, where his right foot will dorsiflex as it lands back onto the ground, completing the kick.
The comparison between the kicks will be broken into 4 phases. In terms of the run-up, Lincoln is too in line with the ball, instead of approaching the ball diagonally from the left. This causes his body to be more stiff compared to Leon's and makes it more unnatural to properly perform the kick in later phases. Backswing. Lincoln does not pull his right leg far enough back for the backswing. A very prevalent difference is that there is more hip extension and knee flexion in Leon's kicking leg compared to that of Lincoln's. This generally allows Leon's kicks to have greater trajectory compared to Lincoln's. This is because his kicking leg reaches a greater maximum kicking height compared to that of Lincoln's. It's also crucial to note that Lincoln is lacking plantar flexion in his right foot unlike Leon. It is also observed that Lincoln's torso is not leaning to the left as much as Leon's, as his torso movement is more stiff and less natural. Contact. The difference in body lean is more obvious in the contact phase, as it can be seen that Leon places most of his weight on his left leg, while Lincoln tends to stand more upright and square to the ball, thus reducing power and overall trajectory. Lincoln's contact with the ball is fairly inconsistent due to not having much experience. His foot only sometimes contacts the right part, the lower quarter of the ball, whereas Leon's contact with the ball is more consistent, regularly contacting the ball at the lower quarter of the ball, ensuring a greater consistency and trajectory. In most kicks, Lincoln fails to keep his right foot plantar flexed unlike Leon's, causing a weak and loose kick. For the follow-through, Lincoln has too much hip flexion, causing his kicking foot to come too far forward, throwing him off balance. Lincoln's torso is also too hunched, decreasing the amount of power he is able to generate compared to Leon's more upright upper back. This may also be attributed to Lincoln leaning forward to balance himself from his overextended kick.
Next, we will be talking about some ways that Lincoln can further improve his kick. For the run-up, Lincoln should take his time and focus on approaching the ball further from the left and to visualize kicking the ball at the right contact point. He should also focus on putting more weight on his left leg, leaning more to the left. Next is the backswing. For the backswing, Lincoln should focus on bringing his kicking leg further back and higher with more hip extension and knee flexion. He should also concentrate on keeping his right foot plantar flexed throughout the movement. He could also extend his right elbow and shoulder more. The third phase to improve is the contact. In terms of contact, Lincoln should keep his right foot plantar flexed to provide a firmer and stronger kick. Furthermore, Lincoln should also concentrate on hitting the lower quarter of the ball for more consistent results. He should also lean more to the left as he contacts the ball. Last but not least is the follow-through. For this part of the kick, Lincoln should not overflex his right hip to prevent his leg from extending out too far. He should also not hunch so much so that he is able to generate more power naturally. It's important that you should always strike the foot with this area. It's called the sweet spot, also known as the laces of the boots. This is because this area of your foot is always the hardest part and it will generate the most power. Therefore, you have to hit the foot, this area of the foot, to the lower part of the ball. The important part of this technique is the body movement. It is important that the planted foot, the non-shooting foot, has enough room for your body to shift towards. This is because you need more area for your foot to move. You shouldn't place the planted foot right beside the ball, as you wouldn't have any area to move. Always leave a lot of space so that you have enough for your body to swing. Next, your body, up as you shoot, it will lean slightly towards the left. As most players you see, David Beckham and such, they will lean towards the left very naturally. Third, always lock the ankle as you strike the foot.
You don't want a wobbly foot as you hit the ball. It can be very unpredictable. With a solid ankle lock, you can hit it with more accuracy and more power. Lastly, the arms. Always open up your body. Don't be so stiff. It looks very awkward and you lose your balance. As you open up your arms naturally, you gain balance as your foot leaves the ground and leans towards the